Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and yes, I know I've been very behind when it comes to Tony cast recordings, and I'm just going to put it simply, I have generally just not been as motivated to do it this year, mainly because this year is just very uneventful. This is not a very popular year for Broadway musicals. There were not many that came out, and the ones that did really aren't all that great. So what this is going to be, I'm going to give you a quick review of the remaining 3 cast recordings that I need to review. I'm only going to review the best musical ones because most of the best revival ones were not made available to us until this week. So, of course, I did not get a chance to listen to them. I have listened to Once on This Island, but Carousel, My Fair Lady, I've not listened to. I might listen to them before Tony's, we'll have to see, but either way, we're just going to jump into it, starting off with the first one. So, The Band's Visit, this one I was very interested in. I heard many people say this was the front runner for Best Musical, and after listening to it, I'd very much agree with that. I think the show is fantastic. It's got a real sort of Once Bright Star vibe where it's very like folk music, but I think it really does work for the show. I think it definitely is the right tone and things like that, and right off the bat, the thing that I love the most about this cast scoring is how simplistic it really is. I mean, the other ones, they are very showy, and they're very, you know, they're just very grandiose type productions, and this one is a lot more low-key. It's really just a couple characters, you know, this band, and them arriving to this town that they don't know of, and I think, honestly, everyone does a really great job in this cast recording. Katrina Lenk is easily the standout. I really do love her as Dinah. She's very sassy, but she also is just really great in the emotional numbers, and I think she just does a really great job overall. Tony Shaloub, I also really do love here. I think they complement each other very nicely, and overall, I just really do enjoy this cast recording overall. In terms of standouts, because, you know, I did do a top 5 for the SpongeBob soundtrack, so I might as well do that for this cast recording as well. I do have 5 songs that I really do love. The first one is The Beat of Your Heart.
Love sparks on the offbeat, igniting with a minor 9. Resolving to a major 6, then something clicks and everything starts. There goes the kick drum, spelling out the rhythm of love, telling you get off your seat and move your feet and dance to the beat of your heart.
This one is just a lot of fun to listen to. It has this very sort of I don't know if like salsa is the word or anything, but it's a very fun song. I really do enjoy it overall. This is basically when the character of, Itzik, he basically is, talking about his wife and things like that, who is eating silently, and basically he talks about the story of how he met his wife, like, many years ago, and how music has been, like, the whole foundation of their relationship, and it's a very fun song. I really do enjoy it. Even though their relationship, you can tell, isn't that great now, he's kind of, like, hearkening back to the good times in his life, and I just really enjoy this one. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and The Beat of Your Heart, it's a bittersweet song, but I definitely really do enjoy it, and I think this song in general is the main reason why, John Cariani, I believe, is nominated. Let me check that. Is he nominated? No, he's actually not. I'm thinking of someone else, but he definitely does do a really great job in this role, and I really did love what he brought to the table here. So at number 4, I have one of Dinah's biggest songs in the whole show, and that is Omar Sharif.
Friday evening, Omar Sharif, in black and white and blurry through tears. My mother and I would sit there in a trance. He was cool to the marrow, the pharaoh of romance.
Where basically it's what you think. It's her talking about how when she was a child, she would listen to music from the likes of Kulthum, Kolthim, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, and movies starring Omar Sharif. And basically, Tufig, Tony Shaloub's character, he's like quoting one of the movies in question, and they're kind of just like bonding over it. Again, very simple concept, but very effective. I just really do enjoy her hearkening back to these memories. You know, they're bonding over like what music and movies they like. And again, these are two people from two very different cultures. One is Vietnamese, one is more on the Egyptian side of things, and I just really love seeing them bond over it. It's a really nice song overall. I think Katrina Lenk really kills it on this number. Her vocals really do show on this one, and I think in general this is one of the reasons why she should be nominated, because she really is fantastic here, and that's why it is number 4. Number 3 is probably the most fun number on this entire soundtrack, and that is Patti Hears the Ocean.
Don't know with the girls, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start. I'm smarter up here than I am down here, and up here I'm not too smart. They might say one thing or another, they might have smiled at me once or twice if they...
And I love this track. Everything about this is fantastic. I love this number. The whole song basically is just him. He's trying to, he's swooning over this girl, but at the same time, he's doing his best to, like, keep his distance from her. And, he has a lot of anxieties and things like that. And every time that he wants to talk to her, all he hears is basically the ocean. I guess that's, like, kind of like his calming thing. And it's a lot of fun to listen to. I really do love it. And it always puts me in a good mood, no matter what it is. So, Patti Hears the Ocean, definitely a very fun song, and that is why it is number 3. Number 2, this was pretty obvious. I think for most people this will probably be their number 1. For me it is number 2. That is Welcome to Nowhere.
Let me tell you about Petah Tikva. Such a city, everybody loves it. Lots of fun, lots of art, lots of culture. That's Petah Tikva with a P. Where you are, this is not...
This was the first song that I did here on this cast recording, and it's pretty damn great. I mean, it perfectly introduced you to the story of just, these guys who think they're in one place, but no, they're actually, they think they're in Petah Tikva, when in reality, they're in Beta Hivka, and, basically, they don't know what either word means. She's because she has, like, a very thick, like, Hebrew accent, so they don't really know which one is which, and basically that they are in the wrong place. And it's just a very fun song to listen to. You see these guys, like I said, they're not where they're supposed to be, and again, Katrina Lenk just absolutely kills it. She's so great to listen to here. She completely carries this entire song, just like I think she single-handedly carries this entire show, and I think she really kills it in this number. There's a reason why whenever you watch clips from this show, or you watch, like, one of the like sizzles from the show or something like that, that's why this always does play, because it is such an inviting, but also it just perfectly sets up the tone of this show, and that's why I really do love this number overall. So Welcome to Nowhere is definitely number 2. And like I said, for most people that would be their number 1, but for me, number 1 is easily Answer Me. So, The Band's Visit, this one I was very interested in. I heard many people say this was the frontrunner for Best Musical, and after listening to it, I'd very much agree with that. I think the show is fantastic. It's got a real sort of Once Bright Star vibe where it's very like folk music, but I think it really does work for the show. I think it definitely is the right tone and things like that, and right off the bat, the thing that I love the most about this cast scoring is how simplistic it really is. I mean, the other ones, they are very showy, and they're very, they're just very grandiose type productions, and this one is a lot more low-key. It's really just a couple characters, this band, and them arriving to this town that they don't know of, and I think, honestly, everyone does a really great job in this cast recording. Katrina Lenk is easily the standout. I really do love her as Dinah. She's very sassy, but she also is just really great in the emotional numbers, and I think she just just does a really great job overall. Tony Shaloub, I also really do love here. I think they complement each other very nicely, and overall, I just really do enjoy this cast recording overall. I mean, this is incredible. I love everything about this number. Basically, it's not even from, like, a main character in the show. It's simply just a telephone guy. He's questioning, like, his devotion to his loved one, and as he's waiting by, like, a payphone, and basically he and the citizens of Betativka, they're longing for the presence of a meaning to their lives, and, you know, basically they're just returning to normalcy. And you see, just as he gives up hope, the phone does ring, he speaks to his girlfriend. It's such a great way to close out the show. Granted, it's not the final song in the show, but it basically is, because the final number in the show is basically just a concert from the band. But I love everything about this number. It showcases the ensemble very well, and you guys know how much I dig big, like, large ensemble numbers, and this is definitely a great example of that. It's probably the biggest number in the entire show besides, like, Welcome to Nowhere, and it's emotional, it gets me every time, and it's very, very catchy. I love everything about it, and Answer Me is definitely number one. Alright, so next up is Mean Girls the Musical, and this was one that I was very much looking forward to. Almost the most out of all of these. It's not the most, though. We'll get to that in a little bit, but Mean Girls the Musical, I'm a huge fan of the original movie. I think it truly is one of the greatest high school films ever made. It just gets high school down so well, and I was very interested in seeing, especially that Tina Fey was on board, what this musical would bring to the table, and I will say, this is a pretty damn good cast recording. I really do enjoy this one overall. However, is it Best Musical worthy? No, it is not Best Musical worthy. I do think that it has a lot of really fun, entertaining songs, but it's not Best Musical worthy. It's basically an exact carbon copy of the movie. I haven't seen the show or anything like that. I haven't seen most of these shows. Actually, I haven't seen any of these shows in full, but from what I've gathered, it doesn't really do anything that different. The only thing it does differently is that it kind of gives Damien an extended role, which Gray Henson absolutely kills it here. I love most of the top 5 is comprised of, like, songs that he sang, because I think he definitely is one of the standouts here. This show overall is very well casted. Erica Henningsen as Katie, I really do love. I think she's really great. Ashley Park. I think, Kate Rockwell, oh my god, Kate Rockwell, just the perfect embodiment of Karen Smith. She has that character down to a T. I think she does an incredible job. Barrett Wilbur-Weed, of course, from Heathers, probably the most well-known name to anyone in the show. Everyone's talking about, oh, Barrett. I'm surprised she didn't get nominated, honestly, because she's incredible here, and I think she definitely does deserve it for sure. But she definitely does a really great job on most of these numbers. I think she's really great. And the character of Jen is, is such an integral role in the movie, and I think she has even more to do in this musical, and I think she definitely is really great. Then we come to who actually did get nominated, besides Gray Henson, Ashley Park, and that's Taylor Louderman. And look, I've always liked Taylor Louderman since Bring It On the Musical and Peter Pan Live. I think she has a really great voice. Regina George, though, she is not. I really don't think that she fit into this role. I just don't really buy her as the mean girl. If anything, I wish that her and Erica Henningsen would switch places, because when Katie starts to develop the more mean girl persona, I bought it a lot more than Taylor Louderman. I just didn't really feel Taylor Louderman in this role. To me, she just kind of felt like she was phoning it in. I don't think she's bad. I really don't think she's bad, but just compared to everyone else, I really don't think she's that great, and most of the numbers with her are completely forgettable. They don't really do anything for the show, and that is unfortunate. Regina George should be the standout of the show, and she's simply just not. Again, I really do like Louderman, but I just don't really feel her in this role overall, and it just didn't really work for me. But I really do like the numbers on the show. They vary from, like, classic Broadway to much more like sort of like a a pop feeling, and I definitely really do enjoy it overall, and I think it definitely is a very good cast recording. Again, certainly not Best Musical worthy, but still something I very much do enjoy. But now we're going to get to my top 5 overall. Number 5 is actually the first song I think most of us heard from this cast recording, and that's I'd Rather Be Me.
And it just feels like it does, so raise your right finger and song.
this is Janice's big number after Katie, basically, you know, she doesn't show up to her art show. She's now very much vilified herself, and Janice wants nothing to do with her. She's going on her own. She wants to be herself. You know, she's not going to let Katie control her and let Katie manipulate her, and I really do love this song overall. I think Barrett absolutely kills it. She has such a powerful voice, and it just astounds me why she didn't get nominated, because she seems like she does a really great job in the show. Again, maybe she's not as good in the show as she is in the cast recording, but she's fantastic here. I love everything about this. I'd Rather Be Me definitely is one of the standouts of this show, and that is why it is number 5. So, number 4, this might just be the funniest song I have heard on any of these cast recordings, and that is Karen Smith's big number, Sexy.
When you are the hot one, it's a full-time gig, looking like what people want to see. Once a year I'm not, I dress up and dream big, disguised as someone else who is not me, but it's still.
I mean, this is fantastic. Everything about this I absolutely love. This is, of course, when she's trying to tell Katie about how, you know, Halloween is the day where you get to dress like a slut. Everyone knows, of course, that iconic line. Everyone knows that scene. You know, when you think of Mean Girls, it's one of the first scenes you think about, and she absolutely kills it here. I love how basically, you know, she starts off the song and she's just so dumb where she can't even finish it. She has to start it over, and it's absolutely hilarious. I love everything about it. It's such a ridiculous song. So many great lines in here, like her saying that she's going to cure sex cancer, and even though they tell her that it's not a real thing, she thinks that she takes that as, oh, I've already cured it. I mean, just I love everything about this. Kate Rockwell, I don't know how she wasn't nominated. I really don't, because she is one of the standouts on this show for sure. I think she absolutely kills it in this song. It's so fun to listen to. It just showcases Karen Smith so well. It shows why she is the dumbest girl in that entire school, and she really does embrace that role perfectly, and I love everything about Sexy. Such a fun song to listen to. I constantly find myself going back to it, and definitely that is number 4. So, number 3, this is a song that I heard it once and I really didn't want to listen to the rest of the cast recording because I thought this song was just so damn good, and that is Where Do You Belong?
You'll be judged on sight and made to fit, so find a click and stick with it. Say, where do you belong? Let's take a walk around the cafeteria, shall we? I'll show you the world as I see it. Varsity jocks and JV jocks will throw you in a locker if you say hello. The rich stoners hate the gangsta whites, though they're all smoking the same oregano. Here's the sexually active band geeks. I got 2 words for you, embouchure and ooh. And if you like blowing and fingering, this is the group for you.
This is Damien and Janice's intro into the show, and like I said, Gray Henson is just fantastic here. He's so flamboyant, he's so exuberant in this role, and he's just so intent on telling Katie why everyone else in the school sucks except for him and Janice, and I love the classic Broadway feel. Most of Damien's numbers, they feel the most like Broadway, like the other numbers have a more like modern day feel to them, and I'm fine with that. I'm not someone who, you know, is upset that a lot of Broadway does sound a lot more modern. I think, you know, that's just kind of natural. You know, we're going to evolve in everything. You know, culture is going to evolve, music is going to evolve as well, theater's going to evolve. That's just kind of how things are going to go. So I have no problem with that, but I do love the fact that this one is very classic Broadway. I think it definitely does have a really nice feel to it. I really do like how it's produced and things like that. And like I said, Gray Henson absolutely kills it in this number. It's so fun to listen to. There's so many great quotable lines, like him saying that the mathletes are all about Doctor Who quotations. I mean, that just kills me every single time. So many, like, I forgot to say, by the way, this is easily the funniest of the cast recordings for sure. Just so many great lines in this song. It's so fun to listen to. Barrett and Gray absolutely kill it, and for those reasons, that is why Where Do You Belong is my number 3. Now, number 2 and number 1 were very close. I really did not know which one I enjoyed more, but ultimately, number 2 is the closing number of this show, I See Stars.
I see stars, you shine as bright as day.
everything about this I just love. The first time I heard it, I actually heard it by accident. Like, I had the cast recording on shuffle by mistake, and this one played. I didn't realize it was the closing number, but I'm like, this is fantastic. I just, first of all, the ensemble, I know I say this in every show, but they are just so great. I think they are just, you can tell they're really having fun in this show. This is also a really great song for Katie. You know, this is when basically she's won everything. She's gotten Aaron. Aaron's now taking her seriously because, you know, she is being herself, and, you know, she thinks that everyone basically is a star, you know, in their own way. Regina George has basically been demoted at this point, but they are still, you know, she's still friends with the Mean Girls as well. I mean, I just really love everything about this closing number. It's a great way to close out the show. It's very inspirational, and like I said, Erica Henningsen is a very underrated actress in this show, and I think she really does have a very beautiful voice. I think she really does fit this role very well, and I think it's just, like I said, a really great way to close out the show, and that is why it is number 2. And then number 1, this one honestly was pretty obvious. It was almost a number 2, but the second that I heard it, it was easily my favorite thing on this cast recording, and that is easily Apex Predator.
Every food chain has its Acme. Regina George eats steak. She's the queen of beasts. She can smell your fear in this biosphere. She's the apex predator, like a lioness, only with less fur. Do not mess with her. She's the apex predator.
I mean, I just love everything about this song. I mean, I love the rock feel to it. I love Barrett's and Erica's harmonies. I think they work very well together here. I love you know, Janice telling her about this, and then Katie going along with it, saying, yes, they are the worst of the worst, and that you definitely shouldn't follow them. It just, I think, perfectly fits everything about this show. How, you know, they really are, they rule the school, and they're known as these very deadly sort of predators, and I think it's just a really fun song overall. I love everything about it. It just perfectly, it's one of those songs that just really does get me pumped, and it's just such a fun song to listen to. It's easily the best song on this cast recording. When they released it as, like I said, when they released it before the cast recording dropped, I instantly fell in love with it, and I've loved it ever since, and definitely, I think for all those reasons, deserves to be number 1, Apex Predator. So overall, Mean Girls the Musical is a very fun show. I very much do enjoy it. I think the cast is really great here. It very well does pay tribute to the original movie, but again, best musical worthy, I don't know about that. Obviously, I know there was a limited number of shows. I know that for all these guys, but just in general, I don't think the show would normally be nominated regular Tony season, but this season was just a little bit wonky, so that's why this one was there, but I still really do enjoy it, and I do think that it definitely is one of the best cast recordings out of all the ones to come out. So now we get to the big one of all, and that is Frozen the Musical. And guys, I was so hyped for this show. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You guys know how much I love the original Frozen movie. I think it truly is one of the best animated films of the decade. I really do love it, honestly. I think it's a really great animated movie about sisterhood and things like that. And once they announced it was a Broadway musical, I was automatically on board. I'm like, oh yes, this is perfect for that. Because I always saw it as a Broadway musical, and I was very excited to see what would happen, and I'm a little bit disappointed. Actually, I'm very disappointed. This is not really that great of a cast recording, and here's the thing. This cast recording is very 50-50 for me. Now, in terms of the cast, they do a good job. Caissie Levy is easily the standout, and I'm not just saying that because she's the most seasoned. She is really great on this cast recording, and even on songs that aren't really working, she does do a very good job overall. I really do love her as Elsa. I think she does play the role very well. I really don't get the whole, oh, she's too old to play the role, because Idina Menzel, guys, was in her 40s when she played this role, so I really don't get what people are saying about that at all. I think, Caissie Levy is the perfect age to play this role. all the other actors here, I really do like the dude who's playing Kristoff, Jelani, Alladin, I think is how you pronounce it, Alladin. He does a really great job here. I really love him here. I think he just perfectly embodies the sort of quirky, nerdy personality of Kristoff. He really is great. Patti Murin's very 50-50 for me. Some songs, I think she really does shine as Anna, and I think she does portray that character very well. And then on other songs, I don't think she's very strong. I think she's just coming off as just trying to sort of mimic what Kristen Bell did. And that's really how I feel about the rest of the cast. The dude who's playing Hans especially, to me, just seems like a, you know, sort of discount Santino Fontana. There just really isn't anything about him. He seems like he's just trying to mimic him the whole time, and that really is how I feel about the rest of the cast here. Musically, though, that's a different story, because for me, the biggest problem with this show is all the new songs, let me just start it off the bat, are great. I think all the new songs they include are really great. They really do elevate the story. I definitely really do enjoy them. It's the original songs that we fell in love with that very much do fall short for me, mainly because they don't really stand out on their own. All the other Disney musicals have done different sort of variations of those numbers and have added their own personal spins on them. And I'm not saying just like a note change here and there. Like, obviously, Caissie Levy, you know, she sings Let It Go a little bit differently than Idina Menzel. You know, she belts it out at the end, while Idina Menzel did. At the very last note, she does belt out Cold Never Bothered Me Anyway, you know, just to give it a little bit more theatricality. That's fine, but other than that, these don't really seem that different. In fact, most of it seems like lesser versions of the movie. I mean, really, these sound like stock versions or just karaoke covers of the movie. Let It Go to me especially, it just sounds like Demi Lovato's version done as a Broadway number. There really isn't anything about it. For the First Time in Forever, Love is an Open Door, they do nothing for me. They really don't. It just really makes me want to listen to the movie version because, again, these guys, they're not bad, but it just seems like they're really trying to copy off of the movie's success and they don't really do anything different to it. And again, this would not be a complaint if things like Alladin or Mary Poppins did put their own spin on things. I mean, you guys remember Alladin with Prince Ali and how they made it more like a swingy jazz number? That was awesome. You know, I really enjoyed the way they did that. Friend Like Me was like 7 minutes long. They had a lot more lyrics to it and things like that. It's not like they don't do that here, but they just don't do enough for it to really stick out. The only one that stuck out to me was Fixer Upper because there's a few more lines in there that weren't in the original movie, and that's the only one that really did stick out to me. Sure, they changed a few things for the First Time in Forever, but that one really didn't stick out to me either. So, yeah, this cast recording is very weak in terms of that. I really was not a huge fan of any of the songs that we knew from the movie. I was much more interested in the original songs, which most of them are really great. And all of the top 5 actually is comprised of the new songs because the old ones just aren't doing it for me. There's really not much to latch onto with this cast scoring, and it's very forgettable. The new songs I do really like. 4 of them in particular I've absolutely loved ever since they released the first listen, and like I said, just in general, this is a very weak adaptation of Frozen. I just am not really a huge fan of it. I don't really, I know I was nominated. It was nominated for notoriety. That's why I was nominated, because people saw Frozen, they wanted to be in there, they thought they would piss off people if they didn't nominate it, so they did, and I don't think it really does deserve it. People have said this is a very safe adaptation. Yeah, I very much would agree with that. There's really nothing about this that changes the story. There's nothing about this that, you know, warrants a Broadway musical, and if anything, I think they really could have spent more time on this, and especially the fact that it's the same duo from the original movie is very disappointing. They just really didn't do anything with this. This was very disappointing overall, and I just really wasn't a fan of it. However, like I said, the new songs I do very much enjoy. The problem is there's not a lot of them, and a lot of it is, you know, there are new songs in there, but there's not really a lot that I really do love, but I'm just going to get into it right now. Number 5 is definitely the song called Hilga, I think is how you pronounce it.
Finding a spider in your shoe, not Huga. Having an annoying thing to do, not Huga. Huga's not scheduled, you can't say that.
I don't really know what this song exactly is, but I very much do enjoy it. It's right before For the First Time in Forever. It's when Anna and and Kristoff, you know, they come across this certain group, and I really do enjoy it overall. It's very long, but it's very dancey, and I definitely really do enjoy this song, so that is why it is number 5. Number 4 is one that, once again, I heard it, I absolutely loved it, and that is What Do You Know About Love?
Love says hello.
Some folks are taken in by curly locks and princely looks.
He does have princely looks. Oh, we agree on that one.
Right. By the way, what color eyes does he have? All I'm saying is when you go to climb a mountain, you don't just jump to the top.
If it's true love, you can.
They're scaling and scrambling and too many steps for counting.
And basically what this is it's a little number for Anna and Kristoff to have, you know, when basically she's telling him about Hans and how he doesn't seem to understand it, you know, she doesn't really seem to know anything about him, including his last name and things like that. And I really do love this because, yeah, Kristoff did not have enough music in the original movie. I would very much agree with that, and I like that this musical does give him a little bit more to do, because they didn't really have a song together, and I think this one works very well. I really do love this song. I think the two work very well together. This is one of those cases where I do think Patti Murin is very good. You know, she shines a lot in some of the newer songs, and I think they work very well together. It's a very fun song to listen to, and What Do You Know About Love, for that reason, is number 4. So, like I said, Patti Murin was very 50-50 for me. However, what she really does excel at is on this next number called True Love.
I know this solitude, I know this kind of cold, but I had faith in what the stories told of true love, how I'd find true love. And here I am in this room again, just as lost and small. That lonely girl with a desperate heart is who I am, after all. There's no escaping her, but now the dream is gone, because I spent
which she absolutely kills. This is basically the moment where Anna realizes Hans has been using her the whole time. He has just been trying to turn her against her sister, but she latches on to that idea of love. Even though she doesn't really fully comprehend it, and it gives these layers to Anna's character. Not that they weren't there in the movie, but it does add a lot of layers to her, and I think she does a really great job here. I do very much think that the show misses out on giving Hans like a full-fledged villain number, but this is still a really great song overall. I really do enjoy it. Murin does very much kill it here, and it is easily her best. I think this showcases her best in this number. So now, number 2 and number 1 are both going to be very predictable, but number 2, I heard this one, I absolutely loved it, and it is Dangerous to Dream.
knowing everything in my whole life has led to this. And so I pull inside myself, close the walls, put up my guard. I practice every single day for this, so why is it so hard? 'Cause I can't show you I'm not as cold as I seem. There are things you cannot know, and it's dangerous to dream.
And this is one of 2 of the big Elsa numbers that they added, and I love this one. Basically, this is essentially when it is Coronation Day, and, you know, Elsa's doing her best to repress her powers, but this is becoming very hard for her to do. She doesn't know if she can just be this perfect sister anymore, and she really just wants to branch out, and I just love going through, you know, I love going through, you know, how this song is done. You can see that she's very hesitant to go to this coronation, or she's worried something's going to happen, but I love everything about it. Caissie Levy absolutely kills it in this track. I also love the background vocals of the Queen Anointed. I think that's really great, and it really does give me that, like I said, epic feel that I really want for the Elsa character that Let It Go just simply doesn't have, and I think they do a really great job with this number. However, it's still not the best Elsa track. That is, of course, number 1. It was the first song that was ever released for the show, and ever since it was, I've absolutely loved it. Number 1 is absolutely Monster.
Don't feel fear will be your enemy and death its consequence. That's what they once said to me, and it's starting to make sense. All this pain, all this fear began because of me. Is the thing they see the thing I have to be? A monster, were they right? Has the dark in me finally come to light? Am I a monster, full of rage, nowhere to go but on a rampage? Or am I just a monster in a cage?
I mean, this is what I want this show to be. This gives everything this gives so many more layers to Elsa's character. You see her very conflicted with her realizing that she kind of is becoming a monster and her kind of not being sure if she wants to accept that. A lot of people compare this to No Good Deed from Wicked, and I think it honestly is a very apt comparison. Elsa and Elphaba are very similar characters in the sense that they do both end up breaking bad at some points. But Elsa doesn't really want to do that. You know, she doesn't know, should she become a monster or should she try to, you know, repress it and try to stop herself? And she's even calling on to her parents, not knowing what she really can do here in this situation. I mean, this is kind of insurmountable. Everyone's kind of after her at this point, and just everything is pretty much her fault, and she's very well aware of that, and she doesn't know what she should really do. I mean, this is basically when she's been told that, you know, Elsa has, you know, that Anna, has in fact been, well, actually, it's before this that she knows that Anna, you know, she thinks that Anna was killed, but, you know, she's very conflicted with what she really does here. I think, like I said, Caissie Levy absolutely kills it in this song. I think, you know, if you guys think that she was miscasted, just listen to this and you'll know for sure. No, she fits Elsa very well. This is everything that I wanted the show to be. It's deep, it's very intimate, it really gives you a lot of insight into Elsa's character, and for me, it's much more epic than the Let It Go version that is on this cast recording, and this is a much better version of Let It Go, and I love everything about it. It was the first song I heard, I instantly fell in love with it, and for all those reasons, it is definitely number 1. So in conclusion, like I said, Frozen the Musical just really isn't that great. It does have those few numbers that do elevate the show, but there's a lot of missed opportunities here. Like I said, a Hans villain song, they still don't have one. His villain song is still Love is an Open Door, and it just, there could have been something more. I mean, all these other Disney shows, they've added a lot more songs that really do give you a lot more layers into these characters, and this one, while it did for Elsa and Anna, it didn't really for anyone else, and I think they really did miss out when it comes to that. I think they really could have done more with these characters. They really could have given more to them. And like I said, the songs that we love, they're just lesser versions of them. It's not like they don't do a good job. It just really makes me want to listen to the movie version because there really isn't much of a difference here. And I suppose if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But in this case, it's Broadway. You should change it up. You should give it a more, like I said, epic feel. And they just really didn't here. If anything, they made them a lot less memorable. And for me, definitely really disappointed me in that sense. Like I said, Frozen the Musical was a show I was most looking forward to, and this very much did let me down, and I really don't think deserves that Best Musical nomination. I think the only reason it is again, because people would riot if it wasn't on there. There's a reason the actresses were nominated. There's a reason it's not nominated really for anything else except for like Best Book and effects and things like that, but other than that, not really great cast recording. I don't know how the show as a whole is, but just a cast recording really didn't do it for me, minus those few numbers I just talked about, and for me it is definitely the weakest out of all the Best Musical nominations. So with that, guys, we've now come to an end. I have reviewed every single cast recording that was nominated for Best Musical. Like I said, this is really not that strong of a year. I apologize for my lack of motivation, but I just haven't really been feeling it this year. The other years, I've reviewed every single one, and I felt confident about them. I mean, last year I didn't because I had other things going on, but even last year was much better. I actually saw a Facebook post the other day, and it was like musicals of 2015. I'm like, that was a damn good year. We had Fun Home, we had Something Rotten, we had American in Paris. 2016, the same. We had Hamilton. You know, last year we had like Dear Evan Hansen and Groundhog Day, and this year there really isn't anything. I mean, there's SpongeBob and The Band's Visit, but nothing really that I think we're really going to be talking about years from now. None of these shows really give me that feeling. They're fun shows that I listen to in the moment, and I don't know if I'm really going to, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to go back to some of them, but I don't think they're going to give me that same feeling that other cast recordings I've reviewed on this channel have in the past, and it just isn't really going to do much for me. But either way, guys, that's it for this video. Look forward to later, guys, because tonight, me and my good friend Haley McKay, who I think is probably the, you know, person that I know that knows theater the best, we're both going to be talking about the Tony nominations, what we think is going to win, predictions, things like that. Definitely look forward to that tonight at like 8 o'clock. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys in my next video, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.
That's right, it's bigger. I just learned this dance like half an hour ago. We're going bigger, like so much bigger. You ever seen so many divas in a row? Well, stick with me, cause your MC's a seasoned pro.